Hello everyone, I am Jesse Budd and that is my roommate Scott. Today I want to talk to you about a bike ride that me and him did over spring break like 3 weeks ago. We decided to ride our bikes to St. George, which is 409.79, something like that, give or take. And so, a couple years ago, 6 years ago to be exact, me and my buddies were going to do this right after high school, and then they all ended up bailing. And I was pretty bummed about that, and ever since then I've been thinking about it. And so when Scott wanted to do it with me, I was so excited, and I was determined, and we were going to do it. And so I started telling everyone I knew, this is what we're doing for spring break, and they were gonna think it's awesome. Well, this is their reaction. It wasn't, they scorned at us. They're like, you guys can't do that. You shouldn't even try. It's like, why? You're gonna fail and then you're gonna think you're stupid. And so, this is a lesson I learned from that is other people's opinions on whether you'll succeed or not has little to do with if you actually will. And I'm gonna share with you a couple quotes of people that you probably know and things that people told them. This is one. Lacked imagination and had no good ideas. This was about Walt Disney. The next one is mentally slow, unsociable, and adrift, forever in foolish dreams, and that was Albert Einstein. There he is. You better learn secretarial work or else get married. That was Marilyn Monroe. And then, what is this one? You ain't going nowhere, son. You ought to go back to driving a truck, and that was Elvis Presley. And throughout history, people have always told people they couldn't do things and scorned them whenever they had big ideas. I don't know why that is, but ultimately it doesn't really matter because they're not controlling whether you can do something or not. Well, now that we had this determination to prove everyone wrong, we got our stuff ready, we bought our bicycle shorts, and we actually had to go find bikes. We didn't own bikes, we're not bikers technically. And then we were ready, and then Monday we took off. And we headed up Sardine Canyon, and it was surprisingly easier than we thought it was going to be. And yeah, my butt started hurting by the end of the day, but we had ibuprofen, and like different joints started hurting. And day 3 was kind of funny because Scott's bike seriously had like 10 flats. He would patch it up, we'd ride like 10 more feet, and then pop. Like it would seriously like pop like it would explode. I don't know what was up with that. So we had to make up lost time, so we started riding in the night. When we approached Milford, this is Utah's biggest windmill farm, turns out. And the reason they put it there is because it's windy there. And we had to experience that. It was a nice headwind. And one thing that I learned there is there's setbacks in life that you're not going to realize are going to be there. And so you can choose to either curse the wind, or you can quit, or you can man up and just keep pedaling. That night, we arrived at 2 a.m., we decided to stop, and when we woke up, this is what we saw, and we were like, shoot, we're in the middle of nowhere, and we're 20 miles away from any city. I was feeling bad. I started getting a cold. My throat, I had like a really deep voice at this point. My joints hurt. I could barely walk, like I was waddling everywhere, and I felt like crap. Scott, on the other hand, he had a migraine, so he felt a lot better. As you can tell, he's covering his face. And he started throwing up at this point. So I took a picture of that. He lay down in the shade, and he was pretty like disoriented and wasn't responding. And so I knew we were in trouble. We were out of water at this point, too. And we were 20 miles away from anything. So I flagged down a cop. I had him take him to Milford, and I wanted to finish the bike because in my mind, I was going to finish this thing. And so I kept pedaling, but I thought Scott's going to want to quit once I find him in Milford. And the wind was super hard there. This was the hardest part. It was our mile 20. For marathon runners, most marathon runners quit at mile 20. And I think it's because they've gone so far, and yet they have so much left. And the reason the people quit is because they don't have enough vision from the get-go that they really want to finish this thing. And so if you really want to finish something, you can bust through that wall. And that's what we did. We had the vision. I knew I was going to finish this. And when I found him in Milford, Scott was on board too, and we did it. We finished. We made it 400 miles. And so my point is, what you believe you can do has everything to do with what you'll achieve. And I say these things, just kidding. That's it.